Hi! It's been a little while since I posted a video. I've just been kind of busy with work. Had to work like a few extra hours because of the holidays and whatnot. And so, got kind of off schedule with the YouTube video channel. But anyways, today I wanted to talk about some of one of the problems that can develop between an ENFJ and an INFP. And I've been to a lot of sites online that say that INFPs usually make great friendships with ENFJs. Like that's one of the suggested personality types that goes well, that connects with INFPs pretty well. But at the same time, there is a huge communication gap that can also develop between those two types, because they're kind of like this. They are they're so similar. Our personality types are so similar in our outlook on life, and usually in our goals in life, because we both typically like to help people. We like to think deeply about things. We're not as into chit chat as we are into real talk about like philosophy or the direction that the world is headed towards, about the possibilities of life. Like those kinds of concepts and discussions excite INFPs as much as they excite ENFJs. So when we initially meet each other, usually it's like bam, for an INFP especially, because we don't typically find people who we just click with totally. We like mostly everybody, to be honest. Like, I probably fall in love literally with everyone that I meet. But it's different than really clicking with someone who you feel like, oh, I think this person gets me. Usually I feel like I'm the one getting the other person. But for ENFJs, the few that I've known, there is this immediate feeling of somebody finally gets me, and it's really exciting and fun when you first meet. And then some things can go wrong. One thing that can happen is if after that initial meeting, and maybe it's just the two of you who've been talking, who are building a friendship or whatever, you're like just enjoying talking. When you start to include other people in the conversation, or when the ENFJ, let's say the ENFJ and the INFP start to actually become like really good friends. So they hang out in a group setting with other friends. And then all of a sudden, like at a party where the INFP doesn't know anyone, that strong, socially awkward, deer in headlights, why did I come to this party? I don't want to be here. I feel so uncomfortable. Part of the INFP might come out. And the ENFJ will start staring at them and wondering, you know, that ENFJ hardcore stare they do when they're trying to figure stuff out. And I've felt those laser beams on me before too, when they're trying to figure me out. It's very disconcerting, but that's okay. I understand. Totally understand what they're doing. They're just trying to figure things out. They'll like look and try to figure out what is this person, because usually you're all happy and blah, like everything's great, but now you look like you are about to die. Are you sick? Are you ill? And sometimes because the ENFJ is so hyper focused on appearances, they won't even ask what's wrong. They won't even bring up your awkwardness. So it doesn't get talked about. And the INFP, who typically likes to talk about things, but also does not want to step on toes may not bring it up either. So there's just like this silence where you don't really discuss why all of a sudden one of you seems to be acting differently. So yeah, the point is like, because INFPs, we go into turtle mode sometimes, like where we don't want to leave the house because we need to be alone with our thoughts so that we can recharge and think things out. And in social settings, we might sometimes like appear to shut off, where it's a form of turtle mode where we just kind of retreat because we feel uncomfortable. It could be because there's too much, like atmospheric stimuli. And I know it sounds odd, but this is a thing. It's an actual problem for some INFPs, where a room might have, like, the lights could be so bright and the noise could be so loud that the INFP starts to feel anxious and like they can't fully function. So they turn off part of themselves in order to be able to function. And the part of themselves that they turn off might be that social part. So the ENFJ who sees a side of the INFP that they don't understand, and it can seem really weird and off-putting to them. Another thing that can happen is ENFJs, because they are so focused on making sure that the people around them are happy. They try their best to be very polite, and that's a really good thing. INFPs are not always polite because we feel like, even though we're known for being quiet and gentle, sometimes gentle does not always mean polite. Because INFPs have this thing where we are gently blunt. Like, I know I blurt out things all the time that are actually kind of rude, and I don't realize how rude they are until after I've said them. And I say it in a gentle voice, like I'll say it like this, like, your breath kind of smells like rotten eggs, but it's okay, I still love you. Like, I'll say things like that, and then sometimes if the person knows me well, they'll laugh. Usually that's what happens, they laugh. But as the older I get, the less people laugh at things like that, because they take me like very, very, very seriously and feel offended, which is totally understandable, because I just told someone their breath smells like rotten eggs. That's like an INFP thing we tend to do, be a little too honest. So yeah, ENFJs tend to go the other end of the spectrum, where they're so gentle with people and so aware of social standards and rules that they don't want to bring up anything that could cause conflict, which means that instead of talking about an issue that an INFP believes should be addressed, the ENFJ will shove that issue under the rug and pretend like it doesn't exist. And the INFP will be offended by this and say, you're lying to me. You're a fake person. Your whole personality is fake. You are built on just appearances. And because we tend to kind of like jump to conclusions sometimes about people. I know I do that at least. And I've noticed that some other INFPs do that also. Like, we'll make sweeping judgments about a person's behavior based on a few things that they have done, like the ENFJ sweeping a couple of things under the rug, which they think they're doing to be kind. So that's where some differences can come up, and if they are not worked out properly or quickly, they can get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until that whole friendship is ruined. So if you're an INFP and you're friends with an ENFJ, I would recommend being gentle with them. Remember that they're trying to be gentle with you because they care about you. Sometimes that means that maybe they do lie to you a little bit. They're not doing that though because they're fake. They're not doing it because of that. They're doing that because they're afraid of hurting you, and they're also afraid of hurting themselves. So just remember that and try to put yourself in their shoes. Another thing too, I would recommend for INFPs in dealing with ENFJs is to find out as much as you can from your friend about their childhood. Because I've recently read that a lot of ENFJs felt overlooked in their childhood, and that sometimes can lead to behavior that can come across as arrogant, especially to an INFP. And INFPs do not react well to arrogance. So it can be weird for us when we see someone who we respect and admire, our ENFJ friend, suddenly seeming arrogant. So to understand why they appeared that way can help us to get less angry with them, to be more patient with them, and more understanding. Because I think that the friendship between an ENFJ and INFP is a really precious thing. And it's rare. Well, I don't know if rare is the right word, but it's a precious thing. And you don't want to lose that through misunderstandings. Because like I was saying before, those are two of the personality types that usually have the same life goals, same outlook on life. It's just that they come at those things from two different directions. It's like the ENFJ is coming from the northbound lane, and the INFP is coming from the southbound lane. So they're both headed towards the middle. So they're both like headed towards this middle place, but they're coming from two different directions. I guess it would have made more sense if I did like this. You could see it better like that. So yeah, you got one super blunt person and one super not wanting to get into conflict with others person. But it is a friendship worth saving, so do whatever you can to be understanding. As long as it's a nice ENFJ who is not manipulating you, because you do have to be careful of manipulative ENFJs. Just like ENFJs have to be careful of manipulative INFPs, because some of us, when we are unhealthy, we can be downright evil with our manipulation. So yeah, everybody just, oh Lord, we're all crazy. We're crazy people, but we gotta learn to be patient with each other. That's it for today. Thanks for watching the video, and I hope you have a good day and that you find your ENFJ and give them a hug. And also INFPs, find them, give them a hug too, because we like hugs. Okay.